today we're going to do something very cool. We're going to build a softbox and rig it in the sky. And then in another video, we're going to show you what the light looks like, and we're going to shoot a little scene. So for this build, we're going to use a lot of tools, and we're going to use all the techniques that I've showed you in other videos. So if you haven't seen those videos, here's a link up here. Now what we're going to first off need is sandbags. Sandbags are going to help us tie off the rig as we do it. Another thing we're going to use is pulleys. We're going to use pulleys and webbing. This is climber's webbing that we're going to use to tie off our pulleys onto our grid overhead. Marine line is usually the best rope. This is kind of like a polymer rope. It'll be fine for this build. We're not putting anything too heavy on it. It shouldn't be anything more than 50 pounds at best. Talked about Cheeseboroughs in the past. These are going to be fixed, 90-degree fixed Cheeseboroughs, scaffolding fittings. We're going to use those. Another thing I talked about in the past was baby grid clamps. Baby grid, 5/8 stud, 1.25 inch pipe clamp on one end, 5/8 stud on the other. This is for hanging our lights. We're going to use 2 of those and some aluminum pipe. And this is what's going to actually build our grid all together. And then we are going to use some black duvetine to skirt around the softbox itself. And then we'll use some type of diffusion, either a bed sheet diffusion or some 250 diffusion that I have lying around here. And the lights we're gonna hang are just 2 LED panels, 2 large-sized tray-cast LED panels. And that's going to be pretty much our full kit. And if I run into anything else, we'll talk about it then. First of all, what we need to do is we need to figure out our position. Where is our set? Where are we lighting? Now, this is commonly done for a lot of car videos and massive studio spaces. But in film and cinema, what is usually done over is a table. Let's say you have a dining room scene and a bunch of people sitting around a table having dinner and they're having a conversation. That's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna figure out the placement of my table. Then it's all about how you're gonna build your grid from there. If you're on location, you should have some rigging grips there to help you do that. If you don't, there's wall spreaders, there's other things out there that you could do on a location to help you achieve that. But I have a grid in the sky already, and I've already done a video on that before. So we're just gonna do right here in the sky and make it easy, okay? I'm gonna put the placement of my table somewhere here, and then I'm gonna shoot mostly this way, and I'm gonna shoot mostly this way. So that means my ropes can go out this way and not be seen by camera. And my lighting is gonna come from this way, probably out the window, gonna use the window to mimic the lighting and things like that. And it also is gonna give me room to do hair lights and anything else that I need to do. So let's get our pipe out and let's start building. I have an idea of what I want to do. Now, do I have all the materials I need to make a proper softbox? No, but we'll make one pretty damn close. One of the things I'm missing is Speedrail fittings. Speedrail fittings are definitely gonna be much better to build a softbox with, and I don't have a lot of those Speedrail fittings. A good thing would be the Speedrail elbow side out fitting. That means you're gonna get a 90-degree to put your pipe together to make a box, a rectangular box, not a square box. We're gonna make a rectangle. And then it gives you an option of putting a piece of pipe down. down like so, so you could actually make a rectangle cube. I don't have those Speedrail fittings, so we're just gonna do the lighting and skirt it, and then we'll add the diffusion a different way. We're gonna do this a budget way. Budget filmmaking, that's why you're here. We're not gonna do this super pro, but you get the idea how to build one. If you get onto a super pro set, then you'll know how to build the softbox. One more thing is I don't have exact cut pipe pieces that I would have to keep cutting more pipe, and I don't have the resources to just keep cutting a bunch of pipe right now to make a bunch of different sizes for a bunch of different rectangles. This again is something you will see on a professional movie set. Your key grip is probably gonna have a package, what we call an organ grinder, which is pretty much a box that has a bunch of different size pipes that you can do anything with. That includes car rigs, softbox rigs, sky rigs, whatever it is. So we're just gonna use the materials that we have to make this happen. I'm gonna put my Cheeseboroughs towards the smaller end of my pipe. We'll call this our horizontal. We'll get it all in place, and then we'll tighten everything down. Since we have a larger size pipe on this end, we're gonna take the shorter pipe, make our rectangle, and then we're gonna take the longer pipe and feed the excess out to a end this way. We don't wanna tighten everything down completely because there will be some adjustments to this. One thing is using Speedrail fittings is gonna help you get a more square rectangle, 90-degree rectangles every way. When you use Cheeseborough, you're gonna be off a little bit. So I'm gonna check it out, see if I'm fairly square, eyeball it, and now it's time to tighten all our Cheeseboroughs down. Pretty close. If anybody didn't tell you, filmmaking is a dirty job. Now that I have my box built, before I do anything else, I'm gonna find the position of my pulleys. So I'm gonna move my box somewhere up under my grid, which I will show you up in the sky later, the grid. And I'm gonna move it around to a position that I think's good. And the position of my table. Like I said, my table's probably gonna go here. So I want my box directly above the table. This is normally where I would kind of use a laser pointer to put on the ground, shine up, see exactly where the point's hitting, and that's where I'm gonna set my points. This is what we're gonna call points. Points are where my pulleys are gonna end up hanging. So I want my rope to hang straight down from that point on all four corners. I don't want to be pulling it this way. I want it to hit straight where I need it to be. I don't want to set the pulley off from this corner off to over here because it's going to pull the whole rig this way. That's not what I want to do. So I'm going to get my rope here, and I'm going to tie my corners. And I've done this before in other videos. Tying knots. This is where tying your knots comes very important. Knowing how to tie knots. Another video you can check out on my channel, how to tie knots. I'm just going to talk about them here. I'm not going to teach them all. But I'm going to do a clove hitch. You can go check that video, reference that video, and learn how to do a clove hitch. And I've already got one rope set. And I'm going to do a clove hitch on every corner. Now it's time to move into the sky and set our points. We're going to take a ladder. We're going to reset the camera, show you visually up at the top what I'm doing in the grid, and then we're going to pull this up. I'm going to go ahead and set my first point. That is my pulley with my webbing right here. And then I'm done there. I'm going to set my second point directly across from it, right here. Now here, I'm going to use a double pulley, because I'm going to take one rope up through here and out the double pulley here, and then one rope up through here through the other side of the pulley. Just run your webbing through, make a loop, just like that, simple. Up and around the pipe, pulley goes through the other hole in the webbing, and there you go. Simple. Now I'm going to do the same on the other end there. I'm going to go ahead and run my first rope through. While I'm here, take the slack out and do the same on this corner. Remember to keep your ropes separate. You don't want them to get crisscrossed or tangled up with each other. Over here, I'm going to do two things at once. And pull my rope through and set my other point. This is going to save me trips on the ladder. Last rope, and then we'll be done on the ladder. Everything else we can do from the ground. We got our rig up, we got our pulleys in the sky, we have our ropes all run, we got our box built. Now we're in the testing and working stage of it. So we're going to pull this up one by one, and then we're going to tie it off, and we're going to bring it up to a level about here so we can actually do more work on it. And then we're ready to pull it up into the sky and to finish our softbox. So here we go. This is where we're going to use our sandbags to help hold the weight. And this is where we're going to use our trucker's hitch that I showed you in a previous video. 5 knots every filmmaker should know. And this is where your 5 knots are going to come in handy. Trucker's hitches will never come undone. Number 1. Number 2, I got full capability of pulling it up higher if I want to. Since I'm one man, shooting camera, building rig, doing everything like that, I have to do one at a time. Be much easier if there were 2 people helping me out, but there's not. But this will also show you if you're working independents and you don't have a large film crew, and you watch this video and you learned how to do this, you can jump in. Even if you're a director or a DP, you can jump in and help your grip brothers out to build this rig. But if not, this will show you that one man can do it alone. Let's get it a good working height. Now I don't have to bend over, hurt my knees, to do anything. Boom. Boom, trucker's hitch. All right, now we got it up to a good weight, good height for working. Now we're ready to hang some lights. Now we're ready to take our baby grid clamp. And I'm going to hang them here and here. Because I'm going to put my talent at each end of the table. That's how we're going to work this. Depending on where you're going to put your characters or talent in a film set or commercial or whatever video you're doing, that's kind of where you want to place your lights. Also, a benefit to this. Why? Why go through trouble of all of this? Well, these LED panels are not very bright, number 1. And number 2, I can adjust the brightness of the light by pulling the light up or lowering the light. I can add more light if I just lower it a little bit. I can take light away if I raise it up a little bit. Second, we're going to put what you call a skirt around this softbox. That is black duvetine. We're going to run around the entire softbox. That will keep it off the back wall. And that'll keep light just right here, not reflecting in our window, not bouncing a bunch of light off our back wall. That's why we're going to do this. Two dog collars. These are just safety chains. Wire rope I'm going to use on either end to safety my lights to make sure it does not fall down. and break my lights, and above all, hurt anybody on the movie set, just in case something goes wrong. You're always going to safety for something to go wrong. It's not if it will go wrong, it's can it go wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the barn doors off. No sense in having extra weight that I don't need. I don't need barn doors because I'm going to build a skirt. And with a skirt, it's going to do the same thing that the barn doors do. Now, with these LED panels, these Draycast LED panels, I can add batteries to it, but that's adding unnecessary weight. So I'm going to actually plug them up. And I built my studio with lighting overhead. I got rid of the overhead lighting and I replaced that with incandescent receptacles. Replaced it with receptacles so I can run power straight overhead. I don't have to worry about running out stingers. That's the official name of an extension cord in the film industry. After a little bit of technical difficulties trying to shoot and rig at the same time, I never advise that. What I've done is I've hung up my light panels. These are the Draycast Kayla 2000 light panels, and I use the baby grid clamp, and we put on our dog collar or wire safety here, and I went ahead and ran power and tied the power here up on the pipe, and then if we didn't hear before, I have power outlets up in the ceiling that I can directly plug those lights into, so I don't have to use batteries or stingers or extension cables or anything like that. And I put them both up on both sides. And when I get it up there, I can get up on the ladder and maybe adjust them a little bit, point them more towards the center, looking down like that, and give us a big spread. That's what I'm going to go for, is make a big spread. Now, if I want to center these lights a little bit better, I can run a piece of pipe in the middle and then just have them going out this way instead of doing that. But I'm going to do this kind of quickly so this video isn't 3 hours long. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our skirt, our black skirt. Usually we're going to use duvetine, a 12 by solid, 8 by solid, 6 by solid, all that kind of stuff. And the skirt is going to cut the light from the back wall. That way we don't spill light going all the way up the wall. We just want the light centered right here on our table. And then on the professional end, if we were to make an actual softbox that was completely square and rectangular with our downpipes, be the same rig upside down, but like this, what we would usually use in the professional world would be magic cloth or light grid. Light grid being a little bit more common than magic cloth. But we're just going to use the panels themselves because they're already pretty soft. And then if we have to soften it more than that, we're going to just use some 250 diffusion on the bottom here and just clip it to our skirt, which is going to be our black. So I'm going to add the skirt on now. Oh, I have already done one edge here. What is better than these plastic clips would be A-frame clips. Motherfucker, man. You held a while ago, now you don't want to hold. Metal A-frame clips, they come in sizes 1, 2s, and 3s. Little small ones, 0.5s, bigger ones, mid-size, and then huge ones. You can get that at any hardware store in the United States, any Home Depot you can generally buy those from. And it'll hold a little bit better than what I'm using here. These plastic are not really a huge fan of. I'm going to double it up like so. Office supply stores have these binder clips, and I will usually use these around the side to kind of just clip it together. Or if I want to add some light up to the wall, I will just roll this up. Use the binder clip here, and it'll hold it up. And then I can cut how much light I want on the wall and off the wall. And then I'm going to do the same to the back side. Now I have a pretty perfect softbox. I did leave this side open because I ran out of black. I have more black, but I don't want to cut and waste a piece of black just right here. If I'm ever going to shoot this way, my plan is to always shoot this way. So this little opened end will probably not bother me because maybe I won't have light spilling out this way, or if it does spill this way, I'll never see it. And then I can kill it with a flag if I wanted to. Now that this is all done, we're ready to take this guy up into the sky. Little by little, because I'm a one man. Look, make sure it's about even. And once I feel pretty close to even, I'm going to go ahead and tie it off. Now all the hard work is done. The only thing left is to get the ladder, go up there in the sky, plug in the light panels, and then switch them on. And we'll turn these lights off, just take a quick look at it. Now, like I said, I can lower this if I wanted to. I can lower the black and cut more off the wall. Or maybe I want somebody back here just a little bit more in shadow. And then I can put somebody out here and be in full light. And then I will add things to augment the light on top of it. And just add some kind of little fill or something like that. Add a hair light on top of it just to separate everything out. But now I've got a more dramatic, moody, over-toppy kind of light. Now, if I built this into a box, another option I would have is I'd be able to tilt that box up and down, and then I can tilt the light any way I want. If I wanted to angle it this way, or if I wanted to turn it and angle it this way, if I want to pitch it this way or this way, I'm capable of doing that with these pulleys. That's the beauty about having and building a softbox and knowing how to do it and how to do it correctly. So this has been a lighting tutorial from your friends at Core Creative. Remember, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and keep watching the videos, and remember to always keep shooting.